This is the time of year where we pause to reflect on what we've done and where we're going. For the past 3 years, I've set out on a mission to help wake up the world to the reality of what is coming. Today, I am done. For the most part, I've been amazed at how much I've been able to accomplish in a short amount of time. The massive Sons of Liberty Acedemy, The Greatest Truth Never Told on YouTube with 10 million views and 55,000 plus subscribers, and the Silver Bullet Silvershield coin line. Despite these accomplishments, I now see that it'll never be enough and I need to move on. The simple fact is that the majority of humanity will be in utter denial up until the day the dollar collapses. I do not want to do another interview about how or when it's going to happen. I do not plan on doing the play-by-play of the collapse when it does happen, and I certainly don't plan on saying I told you so to a humanity now realizing how hopeless their situation is and how much they've been played the fool. The anger phase of humanity will ensue, and there is no stopping this. This will lead to every social, political, and financial contract to be broken. Most will be totally unprepared for when the bill comes due for a life of getting something for nothing. While I'm certain there will be wars and riots that will result from this collapse, the real damage will be done quietly, with personal self-destruction. Having everything suddenly and massively go wrong in your life will not be easily dealt with. Most dramatically, it will be the 1 in 10 Americans that cannot even deal with this current reality and are on powerful mind-altering antidepressants. These pills are a hidden danger to those that take them, because if they come off them too soon or simply cannot get them, it will cause massive psychological breaks from reality that can result in suicide or murder. Then there are those that do wake up. For the most part, I believe that they'll be stuck in the hope and fear loops that will keep them revolving in anger, bargaining, and depression, constantly worrying about things outside of their control and never taking positive, productive action in their own lives. Some say ignorance is bliss, but I feel it's far worse to be awake and still stuck in the rigged game of hope and fear. Until these individuals get rid of the scarcity mentality, they're still at risk, and I feel not really prepared for the coming collapse. Finally, I know that only a very small percentage of humanity will ever wake up to question that reality and take the necessary positive productive action to build true independence with real skills, real friends, and real wealth. There is only a few percentage of humanity that are intuitive problem-solving individuals. Only they are capable of looking at the problems we face and take positive corrective action ahead of the logical fate we all face. If you want to see that you're one of them, stop the video and take this test to see if you're the one-off derivative of the INTJ personality that makes up less than 3% of humanity. The beautiful thing about these intuitive problem-solving individuals is that once they become conscious and learn how to use the trivium, they become their own guides and masters. They no longer need to hear others, as they now have clarity to take the necessary action in their own lives. To truly enter the acceptance phase is to understand the reality of this doomed paradigm and no longer emotionally worry about things outside of your control. Instead, realize the power that you have in your own hands. That logical freedom allows the individual to see the superior nature of the abundance mentality and will seek to release the energy, passions, and talents that are inside every one of us. Once released, they will find a world full of supportive people that will seek to resonate that power to the world. I also know that there will be a time where it will be too late or too dangerous to speak out. Since 2008, the criminal elite have been doing everything they can to keep their system going. They've been working quietly but diligently to sustain the unsustainable. The next crisis, they will show their true colors as they become really desperate. Congress was threatened with martial law if they did not pass the banker bailout in 2008. I do not plan on being around to see what they have planned for when a real collapse happens, for it is far too dangerous to be right when the government is determined to be overtly wrong. I sold my house in 2005 ahead of the housing bubble and bet the house on silver. I left my retail business in May of 2008, ahead of the economic crisis later that October. And I'm leaving once again ahead of the big one that will make all other collapses pale in comparison. This paradigm is on the verge of collapse, with the consumer economy strung out on cheap credit buying consumables that will end up in a landfill only 2 months later. With the Obamacare bomb dropping on the economy, with physical gold and silver draining out of the system, with the wealthy fleeing into art, cash, and properties, with Saudi Arabia cutting diplomatic ties with the United States and overtly courting China, with the 15-plus deals dumping the dollar in bilateral trade, with rising military tensions with Israel and Iran, or China and Japan, or the simple fact that any significant rise in interest rates on the exponentially exploding debt will cause a complete collapse in the credit and asset markets. The writing is clearly on the wall for anyone who cares to see it. This will not last much longer, as they've expended a tremendous amount of energy trying to hold the line. The more energy and complexity that is needed will ultimately fail in the most dramatic fashion, and I believe that will lead to the single largest event in human history. I am of the belief that once the West is emptied of their gold, it will no longer be profitable to maintain the illusion, and a harsh new reality will dawn on the world. This once-in-a-lifetime transfer of real wealth will never be matched again in human history. Currently, there is a record amount of paper claims against an ever-dwindling supply of physical gold. This current trend looks to be coming to a head this spring. Sovereign nations have already drained the gold from the system to act as the basis for the new economic order. That will leave only a temporary opportunity in silver, since it is cheaper, more abundant, and has far more uses than gold, as the second most versatile commodity next to oil. In fact, given that peak oil occurred last decade, and has only been prolonged by a shale gas boom-bust, I believe that silver will be critical for any post-petroleum economy. I do not plan on being around publicly when this goes down, much less saying "I told you so" to an unprepared and now desperate people. The phrase I have used most often is "listen to all and follow none." I liked it so much that I put it on the Silver Bullet Silvershield reverse. This phrase directly empowers the individual to use the trivium of grammar, logic, and rhetoric to become an observer of the perceived reality and not get emotionally wrapped up in the drama. I would caution you that once this collapse unfolds, to not listen to anyone that does not logically make sense, or more importantly resonate with your heart. If you use this logic, you will no longer need to listen to anybody, because you can take even the worst propaganda and find truth. When this all goes down, the only thing that will matter are the real things in your life, like your knowledge, friends, and wealth. I have mentally entered into the acceptance stage many years ago, and have taken massive action to physically prepare, and yet I've devoted thousands of hours to things outside of my control, at a real cost to my life. Now it is time for me to take that final step and let that go too. So today I'm going to be taking my own advice and only work on things that I can control, and let go of everything else outside of my control. No amount of logic will fix this insanity. In fact, this collapse needs to happen. Addicts do not change until they hit rock bottom, and this is true for societies living in an illusion. The collapse will not be equally bad everywhere all at once. I just want to be far away from the collapse, both publicly and privately. In order to do that, I can no longer split my energy emotionally worrying about things outside of my control in the present and working towards real solutions. I'm going to strictly develop real skills with real friends to create real wealth in the present with a clear eye towards the future. As I mentioned before, it'll either be too late or too dangerous to speak out. While logic is the solution for individuals, it will be viewed as a real threat to the desperate collective that is facing the consequences for their actions. Before I go, please know that the anger phase is just that, a phase. The fires will burn out, and this too shall pass. Like the past, out of the ashes a new world will be born. What kind of world that will be remains to be seen. Dostoevsky once said beauty will save the world, and it is my belief that the future is not going to be some dark dystopian technological advances, but the future is resonating beauty of humanity. As the collapse happens, humanity is going to cry out for meaning and purpose. Having every career, wealth, and relationship wiped out in the collapse of the dollar will not be remedied by the newest iPad, Lady Gaga album, Dr. Phil, or even a new political puppet to believe in. This will rock people to their souls, and there will be a great search for truth and meaning in their lives. I am sure that many will try to reinvent the collectivist wheel, but there needs to be a better vision for people to grasp for. Art, music, and literature are going to reach new levels as the centralized powers that control them currently collapses too. Artists, musicians, and authors will find a new inspiration in the massive energy released from this collapse. Instead of the meaningless entertainment drivel that appeals to the lowest common denominator, I believe that we will see a renaissance in the arts that will seek to bring out the best in humanity. This inspiration will resonate with every other facet of our lives, as they seek to take this inspiration of this renaissance and the new values into their own perspective skills. They say a laborer works with his hands, a craftsman works with his hands and mind, but an artist works with his hands, mind, and heart. I will be working with creative artists to provide meaning and marketing to inspire humanity when they need it the most. As many of you know, my Silver Bullet Silvershield coin series will evolve in 2014 to a new brand that will seek to reflect my change of focus. It is my hope that this fresh start will allow what was best about the original series to carry on with the art and powerful resonating ideas on these coins. This will also help people stack real wealth that will be transferred into the next financial paradigm, to act as a blessing and be the real capital for a better way of life. We will be introducing fractional silver, copper, and gold to this brand new line this year. I believe the images, message, and wealth will be historically significant as the debt and death paradigm collapses. Next, I will announce a new marketplace alternative to eBay for silver stackers. I was shocked to see the fees that eBay charges for people selling silver on eBay. I think up to 14% of the gross sale price is insane and highly inefficient for a secondary market for silver. The main reason why eBay has been able to get away with those ridiculous fees is that they have the buyers after many years of building the platform. Well, we have all the buyers and sellers for Silver Bullet, Silvershield right here, and we no longer need to pay those fees. I am confident that we can create a more competitive alternative at the fraction of the fees. I will be working with major retailers to provide plenty of product, and I have partnered with 2 Silvershield group members to make this exchange a reality early next year. The final reason for this new exchange is that I'm confident at some point we will have a default in the physical markets. This will cause supply disruptions in the mining, refining, and minting of metal, leaving the stacker community as the only source of real finished metal when I believe that humanity will want it the most. This exchange will be a very important place to cut out the counterparty risk of middlemen and the uncertainty when it counts the most. This exchange is a direct peer-to-peer exchange with only a small advertising fee for each successful auction on the exchange. I'm very excited to reveal this project early next year, and I'm sure it will bring even more interest, liquidity, and profitability to the silver stacking community. All of this will free me up to create and write what I believe will be an epic tale of this age. It has always bothered me that Huxley and Orwell wrote fictional books that clearly laid out the predictive programming of the criminal elite to enslave humanity. I now seek to write an epic that will show humanity how to defeat this horrific future that has been laid out for us. I've been working on a huge story that will seek to tell the greatest truth never told, but do so in an epic narrative that will capture the imagination of humanity and give courage to individuals to release and resonate with other abundant souls to create a better world. I feel I'm uniquely suited for this task with all the work that I've done over the past 3 years with the Sons of Liberty Academy and The Greatest Truth Never Told. I know that a good story will let people who has never read any of my articles or seen my videos to become consciously aware of the problems of the world and the solutions that are in our hands. It is my hope to show a better way forward for us all. Finally, I will be opening the Silvershield group for the last time. This small community has been centered around my weekly Silvershield report and private forum. Over the past years, I've laid out 100+ reports in the archives to establish the intellectual foundation for a better world without debt, war, or collectivism. I've covered all the aspects and talked to so many people that I'm now comfortable with what I should be building in the future. I'm going to drop the weekly reporting and YouTube videos to only do a monthly report as an outlet for me to act as an observer to the unfolding drama of our perceived reality. I will only do this in private so as not to attract any undue attention as we head into the anger phase of humanity. I have only opened the Silvershield group up 3 times in the past 3 years, and this will be the final time I open it to the public. While it is good to create opportunities like this silver exchange, this is only a small step into my main focus of the Maverick Mastermind group, where we will create the next opportunities like the Silver Bank for the ultimate exit strategy. As with anything in life, this all has to do with timing. A great idea at the wrong time is doomed, and a decent idea at the right time can be legendary. As much as I would like to get the Silver Bank started now, the fact is that while the paradigm is still blessing us with cheap silver, it is only time to stack metal, not spend it. Once we have the collapse, we'll have the unique network of consciously aware individuals with the real capital and the will to create a better world. The Silvershield group members will have continued access to special edition coins and a new secondary silver series that will not be available anywhere else. This new series will be different than the new brand I will introduce to the public January 1st. And it will be consciously different than anything we've ever seen before. I'm confident that this series will only resonate with those that have followed my work and will not be accepted by the casual silver stacker. That is why I seek to only do this in a private setting. This new secondary series will tie to the book that I'm writing and will show the conscious evolution of humanity. The Silvershield group will be the only place that I provide commentary going forward, as I believe it will be either too late or too dangerous to speak out the way I have in the past. The Silvershield group is not for everybody, as the cost to join will probably not make sense for most. The new focus and new format of the Silvershield group will probably only make sense for those that have significant amount invested in physical silver or plan on investing significant amounts into physical metals, as I seek to create opportunities and abundance in that space. In time, we will move towards creating a silver bank, commodity-backed cryptocurrencies, and an equitable fund to leverage our real tangible wealth into the incredible opportunities of the collapsed paper paradigm. This is just a first step in that reality. Of course, this takes vision, timing, connections, skills, and wealth, and I seek to combine all of these into something really great in the future for everyone. Until that day, it will take a small group of individuals working diligently with each other on small levels to birth that future. I want to thank all of you for your support and interest, and I wish you well in the coming year. Thank you.